Baseball, and the same thing happened yesterday afternoon. It rained, and then the rain went away, spilly, and we're ready for baseball. How about that?
It's amazing. And when you look at it, the Rockies haven't had an opportunity to take batting practice in a long time. So they've been saying, you know what, we'll just take BP during the game. And when you're looking at this Rockies team, a lot of guys have helped out this organization. You have this record, 11 games over 500 for a reason, because you've used all 25 guys.
Well, one of the guys that they used last night, he was in the starting lineup. He is the Little Ninjas. It says it on his spikes, and boy, did he ever shock the Reds. A 3-run bomb. He had 4 ribbies in 1 inning.
44 at-bats on the season, has 10 RBIs. He has done everything that you can ask for. Bud Black loves the fact that you can put the Little Ninja in the game because guess what? He means a lot for the team.
You know, anytime that you get production from, you know, a bench player or a guy who's not an everyday player, it lifts the team. It truly does. And I think that, you know, everybody wants to feel a part of what the team is doing. And yesterday was a great example of, you know, Lexi in a tight game, a game that was being well pitched by both guys to get a good swing off and, you know, hit a homer to, you know, give us some great momentum. It's awesome. And the guys, you know, the guys love that stuff.
Spilly, you were one of those guys at one point. It is uplifting. And the other thing is, Buddy is fond of saying, if you go out and get 3 knocks and you drive in 4, guess what happens? You get to play the next day.
And that's how it should go. When you look at what Alexi Amarisa has done, 4 for 10 as a pinch hitter, he's earned those opportunities to get in a game. And once you have a game like he did last night, nothing better than a bench guy knowing when he gets to the ballpark, he's going to get a chance to play again.
You know who Antonio Senzatella is trying to keep pace with right now?
No, who?
Clayton Kershaw.
That's a good guy to keep pace.
That's a good guy to keep pace for. When we come back, we'll talk about tonight's starting pitcher for the Rockies. He's looking for win number 7 on the season. Ohio. We are in Cincinnati, and the Rockies come in at 27-16. That is the best record in the National League. They're going to hand the baseball again tonight to the 22-year-old Antonio Senzatella, who comes in at 6-1. Back upstairs with Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. One of the big keys to Senzatella's success this year, yeah, you can talk about fastball command, but it all comes down to when there is traffic, he gets the big outs.
He really does, and that's something that you always watch when you're watching a big game pitcher, and the numbers, they speak for themselves. The opponent batting average drops significantly down. What I love here, though, he's limiting the walks in these situations. When you have guys on base and you challenge them with your fastball, you can see the numbers. Guys are not hitting Antonio, has another level. Antonio pitched 6 straight games where he went at least 6 innings up until Mother's Day. We know what he's lost. He lost his mother last year. Maybe his emotions were running high on Mother's Day, but still gave the Rockies an opportunity to win. The fastball, it plays. Even when somebody knows the fastball's coming as a fastball hitter, he's been able to blow it past people.
And the other key for him is to continue to develop that slider, and sometimes it'll show up early in a count to get himself ahead as opposed to guys just sitting on that fastball. We watch his development right in front of us. He's a special young man, and he has had a special year so far. He hopes to lead the Rockies to another victory tonight. The Rockies 3-1 on this road trip. Charlie Blackmon, when we come back, will get things jump-started for Colorado. It's the Rockies, it's the Reds. Come on back to the Queen City with us. That is a pretty view of the Ohio River, Paul Brown Stadium to the left of your screen, and then Great American Ballpark since 2003. After Riverfront closed down, the home of the Cincinnati Reds. Rockies won last night 12-6. They pounded out a season-high 16 hits. And taking the mound this evening for Cincinnati, a kid with a great story, 29-year-old Tim Adelman, who played collegiately at Georgetown and then has had a long and sordid route to the big leagues, but he has arrived. He's 2-2 this year. Charlie Blackmon hitting .318 will hit first. Charlie last night began the game with a double and scored in the first inning on his way to a 2-for-5 night that included a walk. DJ will bat second in the Southwest batting order for Buddy Black, very similar to last night. Nolan, Mark Reynolds, he had a big night. Cargo threw out a couple of hits. Ian Desmond had a double. Alexi Amarista, he was the hitting star, as we discussed a few minutes ago. Tony Walters has the gear on. He'll bat 8th, and then Antonio Senzatella. So Edelman on the mound, a 5.27 ERA. This kid originally was a 24th round pick of Baltimore back in 2010. He was eventually released by Baltimore, and he went the independent ball route. And the first team he tried to make as a player was about 15 minutes from here in Florence, Kentucky. He got cut. They said, we can't find a spot for you. And the coach was nice enough to call a couple other independent ball coaches and said, hey, I got a guy with a good arm. Maybe you can take a look at him. He spent 2 years in indie ball.
Always appreciate stories like Tim Adelman. Somebody that's willing to grind, someone that's willing to find a way to stick in the game long enough to get these opportunities. Fastball, changeup, curveball, the secondary pitches he's going to have to establish early. 90 miles an hour against this Rockies team is not going to keep them off the board.
He's ahead 0-2, and Adelman goes fastball again at 91, and it's fouled off. He's trying to make the old Florence freedom. They didn't want him, and now Florence can look on, come on down the road, and watch this kid pitch in the big leagues. And he gets a strikeout of Blackman on a fastball that's above the belt. One out. That'll bring up DJ. Here are the Reds defensively. They've been very good with the gloves this year. Duvall's a good left fielder. Billy Hamilton in center. You know, he's outstanding. Scott Schebler is in right field tonight. And then you have Cozart at short, Peraza at second, and on the corners, Suarez and Votto. And the first start for Devin Mesoraco since last Sunday. And Mesoraco catches that strike.
Mesoraco dealing with a sore hamstring. Part of the reason why they kept him out of the lineup.
Inside, a ball and a strike on LeMahieu. Third straight ball game, Spilly, that the Rockies are seeing a pitcher they have never seen before.
It's pretty amazing. And like we saw last night against Bonilla, it took 3 times through the lineup for the Rockies to really gauge him.
This ball's well hit to right, really well hit, and it is off the wall. And Schebler will get it back in, but it's a double for LeMahieu. That came very close to going out of the yard. So a 1-out double for LeMahieu.
Very friendly configuration here at the Great American Ballpark. DJ squares this one up. That ball's hit hard to right center field. DJ might have thought he clipped him. That's what the Rockies are going to look at, especially against Adelman. The scouting report is that he's going to try to command the outside part of the plate. And if he cannot throw his secondary pitches for strikes, the Rockies are just going to hunt fastball away and hit it away.
Here's Nolan. He takes a strike. That was the 21st opposite field hit this year for DJ LeMahieu. And no surprise, he leads Major League Baseball in opposite field hits. He was among the Major League leaders in that department last year. Inside out swing from Nolan. He fouls it off. He's behind 0-2. Here's what he did last night. A no-doubter to left, his 11th of the year. That's a 2-run shot for Arenado. Rockies got 2 in the first yesterday, trying to get the quick jump on the Reds tonight. Stayed off the fastball up. They check it out at first. Chris Siegel said nope, didn't go.
I love the offense for the Rockies in the first inning. Part of it is because of Nolan. He's been so good. The Rockies record 21-3 if they score first. It's the best in baseball. Anytime you jump out on a team, put another team at a disadvantage, and it's pretty nice when in the first inning you're hitting .531 and you have 13 RBIs.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Nolan has 11 go-ahead RBIs, tied with Bryce Harper for the National League lead. Pick up his 12th right here. Starting into a really pleasant late afternoon. Much better crowd tonight. Yesterday was pretty inclement. And everybody coming in the stadium tonight, at least the first 20,000, gets an Adam Duvall bobblehead.
Jenny snagged one. Jenny Kavanaugh has one in her bag. I might steal it from her.
You like bobbleheads?
Yeah, I love bobbleheads. They're great. I have a whole collection at home. I never had a bobblehead made for me.
I was just going to ask you, did you have a bobblehead day?
Nope. Oh my goodness, heads up.
I'm trying to remember when the fences came in front of the dugout. Were you in the big leagues before there were fences? Probably not.
No, always had fences. Parra didn't move. Says, I'm good. Herman Marquez ran for the hills. Still scared.
Got the smelling salts going. You're all right. Good eye from Nolan, and again, the more pitches he sees and the various pitches, you would think the greater comfort he'll have with a guy he's unfamiliar with. 29-year-old Tim Adelman from the borough of Staten Island. Jason Marquis from Staten Island, a former Rocky pitcher. Almost got him. Now it's 3-2. Mark Reynolds on deck. He's had a solid start.
That's right. Be like Mark. Folks need to keep writing his name into the All-Star ballot. His name's not on it, so you're gonna have to vote him in 35 times each.
3-2.
Well, now Nolan's seen everything. He's seen the curveball, seen the changeup, seen the fastball up.
How helpful, obviously, really helpful to Nolan. How helpful is it to Mark Reynolds, who's standing about 40 feet away, to Cargo, who's on the top step of the dugout, who's getting ready to hit in the hole?
Well, we're paying attention to sequences, so he's trying to, it's hard to tell the movement from the on-deck circle, but you're remembering sequences. That's what players do. They're logging in. All right, 2-2, he threw a changeup. 2-2, after the changeup, he went fastball up. All right, now I know that.
And Nolan hits it well to right. Schebler going back, and he's going to make the catch. And DJ will move up 90 feet, 2 outs, and it'll be left to Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds had a subtle big hit late in the ball game last night. Top of the 9th inning, the Rockies were up 10-6. Now remember, they had a 10-2 lead. Unfortunately, Jordan Lyles gave up 2 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th, so it became a 4-run game. The last thing that Buddy Black wanted to do is have to get up Greg Holland. And Reynolds, who comes through yet again, 1-0 Colorado. For Mark, that is his 39th RBI. Another 2-out RBI for Reynolds. He has 16 ribbies in his last 14 games. Well, the two-run single he had in the top of the 9th gave the Rockies a 6-run lead, and therefore they didn't even have to worry about getting Greg Holland up. That's a big hit right there to start his afternoon.
It's huge. First pitch of the at-bat after he watched Nolan, and there's the pitch sequence. Fastball right down the middle. Thank you. He has been so good, so huge for this Rockies team. They can't get him out of the lineup.
Now here's Cargo. Oh, 0-1 on Carlos. Yesterday in the ball game, sac fly, ripped a single to center to start the 8-run rally in the 6th. Later, he had a missile double to right center field. And that's a called strike, 0-2.
The Rockies with 2 outs and runners in scoring position lead all of the National League with a .297 batting average. Thank you, Mark Reynolds.
Psychologically, this is huge. You're talking about a club, Spilly, that's lost 7 straight. Their starter ERA during the 7-game losing streak is north of 8. And they're just getting settled, and they're already down. Cargo looked like he held up. Third base umpire Sam Holbrook. Jim Wolf's behind home plate. Brother of former terrific big league pitcher Randy Wolf. Chris Siegel at first. DJ Rayburn is at second. Two. And now 3-2. Well, now you've also forced the 29-year-old into a situation where he's going to throw in the mid-20s in terms of pitches in the first inning.
2-2 changeup. See if he goes back to it or challenges.
And then fastball down and in. Mark Reynolds will come back. And we'll get another 3-2 pitch. Rockies 16 hits yesterday. I mentioned that's a season high. The 12 runs matches for the 3rd time their season high.
The 12 runs against the Reds yesterday. It's happened 3 times to them as well.
Ball 4. So Cargo walks. Real good at bat. He was behind 0-2. And here comes Ian Desmond, who is the only guy on the Rockies to have seen Tim Adelman.
And guess what he did against him?
Hit a bomb. This is last year when he was playing for Texas. Took a breaking ball and lined it out of the stadium.
Apparently this was a back-to-back. Ian followed Yu Darvish.
Oh, that happens all the time. And that's a strike. Yu Darvish is having a good year on the hill. Yu Darvish, Spilly, is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Reynolds at second. He had an RBI single. Cargo just walked. 2 on, 2 outs, a run in. And Desmond before the ball game, before the rains came, the Rockies watched Cincinnati take BP, and then one group got the hit for the Rockies before they had to pull the tarp. But you got to spend some time visiting with Joey Votto this afternoon. And this is a broken bat, 1 hopper to short, and that will end the first inning. Productive first inning for the Rockies. They get a run. Upon our return, we'll see Antonio Senzatella on the Great American Ballpark mound. Is set to go for Cincinnati. The Rockies up 1-0. Antonio Senzatela is going to face the following 9 for the Reds today. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And Brian Price will have Zach Cozart, who's in the top 5 in hitting in the National League at .352. He'll bat second. Then Votto, Adam Duvall, Eugenio Suarez hitting over .300. Scott Schebler has power. He'll bat sixth. Then Jose Peraza, Devin Mesoraco, and Tim Adelman. Antonio Senzatela is going to feature that fastball in the mid-90s about 77–78% of the time, or at least that's what he's been doing so far.
The last 4 games for him, it's been a little bit of a struggle. Hasn't commanded the strike zone quite as much as he'd like to. 23 innings, 10 walks during that time frame. But if he has command of the fastball, look out.
I think you made a really good point, Spilly, when you were breaking him down in our open today. As fired up as he was to pitch last Sunday, it was a very emotional day for him. And I know in the past, sometimes we've seen athletes when they are, playing with a heavy heart, put together extraordinary performances. But probably more frequently, it becomes difficult to perform at your best, and I would expect him to come out and have a really good day today. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, he had multiple factors in that Mother's Day. Yeah, the emotion of Mother's Day and losing his mom, Nydia. She also had a huge game against the Dodgers where the Rockies lost 2 straight games, and losing a 3rd one to them would have the Dodgers in first place.
Big ball game. The Rockies prevailed on Sunday. 3-1 so far in this road trip. 3-1 count, and that ball slashed at and hit late and foul.
And that's the part I'm talking about with Antonio's fastball. It's a big fastball. 3-1 count to Billy Hamilton. Granted, he's trying to slap the ball the other way, but even in a 3-1 fastball count, it is on the hitter.
And that is not how you want to start a walk to a guy who leads baseball with 20 stolen bases. That's not something Senzatela does a ton of. I'll bring up Zach Cozart.
I pretty much look at this and just expect Billy to be at second base. 20 of 22 this season. It's a nearly a 91% success rate.
He's a 70s player in the 21st century, Billy Hamilton. It's become a power game for virtually everybody. That's a strike for every team and most every player. And Billy Hamilton is a guy that'll slap the baseball. They're still working on his bunting game.
He doesn't have a bunting game.
Well, he does. He doesn't have a bunt hit this year. Doesn't mean he's not working on it. And he reminds you of the Cardinals.
Vince Coleman, Whitey Ball.
Yeah.
Well, Tony Walters behind the plate is looking for the challenge as well. Tony on the season 6 out of 13, 46% caught stealing rate.
Which is great.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Not going, and this ball's in the air to left center field. Easy play out there for Charlie. And even on a routine fly ball, Charlie, Spilly, got behind that just in case.
We timed Billy Hamilton last night. Took him 3.58 seconds to go to 90 feet on a swing. See Charlie getting behind it. And this is his second base. This is a short way. That's how much respect they have for his speed.
And now Joey Votto at the plate. Votto 0 for 2 in a walk last night. And then he was removed from the game with Cincinnati behind by a large number. That's a little closer. Remember, we came in here last year and Votto was really struggling. And I don't mean just struggling for Joey Votto. He was hitting around 200. In the second half last year, he had an on-base percentage of almost 500, and he hit over 400. I'm talking about 400 for half a season. There goes Hamilton, pitch out, throw to second, not going to get him. And even if that's on the bag,
not going to get him.
Not going to get him. He's that fast.
They measured Billy Hamilton stealing first base to second, and granted, with the lead he takes, it's about 85, 89 feet, and he can get down to second base in less than 3 seconds. Put that in perspective. Oftentimes when you're timing, you would like to have your catcher have a sub-2 as far as the pop time, being able to throw it from when it hits his mitt to second base. And an average pitcher, when he starts his windup, is 1.35 seconds. So anything about 3.3, if you're following me with the math, 3.3 seconds is good enough to throw someone out. He's sub-3. You're not going to toss him out.
Good changeup, by the way, on the 1-0 pitch to Votto. And he comes back with a mid-90s fastball, 1-2. Conference at the mound. So 1-2 on Votto. One of the toughest outs in baseball. And this ball's well hit to center field. Charlie turns his back, going back. He's going to make the catch. And Hamilton returns to the bag and will tag and move up to third. Votto hit that on the screws. A nice running catch in center field by Blackman for the second out.
Votto, one of the best hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position, shortens up his swing. That's a nice swing to get to it. But Charlie Blackman off the bat, you can hear the sound. It was well struck, and he's able to run it down. That's a great route by Charlie Blackman to catch that baseball. Billy Hamilton, as you're taught, with one out, stay about halfway in case that ball goes over your head. That's not a tagging situation.
So here's Duvall, and he gets a breaking ball for a strike. So here early in this ball game, a 1-0 changeup, very effective, got a swing and a miss on Votto, and then the first pitch breaking ball to get ahead of Duvall. And then the fastball in and on the hands. Now you're in a good position. You're up 0-2. One of the things about Senzatella, just 22, Kyle Freeland falls in this class also. They've been great in inducing weak contact. However, they are not getting a high whiff percentage, so there's not a lot of strikeouts. Which is only big in that when you have traffic, sometimes naturally you don't want the ball in play at all. He tries to get Duvall to chase after a slider away, 1-2.
125 batting average with 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Just lets you know that Senzatella has a different gear he can get to, and all the good pitchers do. When they need to get an out, they can make a pitch.
Hamilton, who walked, is at third base. Rockies shift over to the left side with LeMahieu. Strong guy, Adam Duvall, 33 home runs last year. Pop up Reynolds, Cargo, nobody.
Votto fan.
Votto made the play.
Votto fan, yeah, made the play. Nice catch.
Adam Duvall, a guy that has to check his blood sugar 7 times a day. He is diabetic, but it is not. You see in his back pocket what he carries because of his diabetes, but he's broken out. This ball to deep right, and it is foul.
Another Votto caught that one.
A lot of Vottos here. A lot of family members for Joey. Joey's an international star, native of Toronto.
.33 home runs for Duvall last year, 103 RBIs. He's not slated to start the season in left field and earn that spot, taking it from his teammate Scott Schebler.
Schebler basically didn't get on the field until they traded Jay Bruce to the Mets. And then Schebler played well once he got his opportunity last couple of months of the season. And now they both start. And now Walters will go out again, trying to get on the same page with Senzatella. That may be. It almost looked like Senzatella wanted to throw one pitch, and Walters was so convicted that he wanted a different pitch, so he went out and explained, I'm guessing, but explained why he wanted a certain pitch or a certain location. Tony really received the ball well last night. The staff was, coaching staff, really pleased with what Tony did. A little fist pump, fastball in. Great pitch. He got him. That is a beautiful pitch by Senzatella. He freezes Duvall right on the inside corner on the Subaru strike zone, and Hamilton left at third. We go to inning number 2 at Great American Ballpark. The Rockies lead 1-0.
You can see Bud Black talking with Tony Walters as they came off. He was actually the one to get Tony's attention. He noticed a mix-up between the catcher and Senzatella in the pitcher on what they wanted to throw. Of course, Walters goes out, talks to Senzatella on the mound, and they end up striking out Duvall looking. So coming in, Bud just wanted to make sure they were back on the same page, gathered him up. But once again, it's the intuition of having a pitcher, for a former pitcher, I should say, for a manager, guys.
Yeah, that's great communication. There's not always going to be agreements, Billy, with what a pitcher wants to throw. And it's important ultimately to get it on the same page. But I've always believed it's the pitcher's game, number one. He has to be convicted. And he made a great pitch to freeze Duvall. Here's Alexi Amarista. 1 ball, 1 strike. Amarista, the huge ball game yesterday. 3rd time in his career that he's had a 4 RBI game. Amarista hitting .389 since April the 22nd, including 2 home runs and 9 driven in. And this ball's well hit to center. Hamilton's right there. 1 out, and that'll bring up Tony Walters. Walters last night in that 8-run 6th inning had a single, a run scored. He eventually came up again and walked. 1 for 4 and a walk overall on the evening. Ryan Hannigan will start presumably tomorrow, the former Red. That'll be special for Hannigan. He'll be catching Kyle Freeland.
He'll be going up against Bronson Arroyo, someone that he's caught many times as well. A lot of familiarity. He's got the eye black on already, getting ready for tomorrow.
Well, he'll shower and put new eye black on tomorrow. That's for today, Spilly.
You never know.
I think on day games you should start wearing eye black up here. Then we'll know as a crew, as a Root Sports crew, that you're fully ready to go.
Fully committed if I have the eye black on?
Yeah.
You know I'm fully committed.
I know you're fully committed, but I don't think anything speaks to others like wearing eye black that you're ready to go.
Well, it's the glare. I mean, it's glary up here in the booth.
I know, I'm squinting right now. Walters foul tip, and it's held by Mesoraco. 2 outs. 2nd strikeout for Adelman. Folks, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more as they did yesterday, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. That would be today now. Do it between 4 and 6 or after the game and get your Rockies taco special at Moss at Taco Bell. Senzatella at the plate, and Senza takes a strike.
I enjoy a 4 o'clock game start. My only concern is the shadows, but there are not going to be any shadows today.
This is lobbed into shallow left, backpedaling and making the catch is Cozart, and it's a 1-2-3 second inning for Tim Adelman. Rockies 1, Reds nothing. Oakland Sports is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
I think he caught a boot, or maybe a hat, or a tire.
What are you saying about that section of the Ohio River? Do you know?
Maybe a catfish, all right?
Do you know back in the mid-19th century, you could walk across the Ohio River in these parts? Because sometimes it would get so low you could just walk across it. And they finally built a series of dams in the area that allowed ship travel and greater commerce in the Queen City.
Thank you, Professor Drew.
Yeah. 2 million folks live in the metropolitan area, which includes, Campbell County, Kentucky, the enchanting town of Newport right across the river, quaint town, a lot of good restaurants over there. Eye black Spilly, I like it. See, it's going to be a trend.
There's 2 ways, actually there's 3 ways you can put on eye black. There is the traditional way, the way that old style baseball players originally did it. They would take a cork and they would light it on fire and they'd use the cork for the eye black. Then they came out with the actual eye black mascara type stuff. I used mascara when I was a kid. And then now they make tape, eye black tape. The eye black tape I thought was pretty cool, but it doesn't have the same effect because you would get the raccoon, look right here.
Yeah, it's easy. You pull it off, but the kids love wearing the eye black now. Now you can, a lot of them go to the Bryce Harper where they're basically drawing on their face.
Yeah.
It would look cool on you. It would be an improvement, some have tweeted in also. We didn't want to show those folks who participated in that manner.
There was, in Japan, they have different style of eye black. There's cargo with the tape. The Japanese style was more of a V shape. Nolan uses the ink-based one, or
it's a little old school.
But there's only one player I ever played with that actually used cork, and that was Matt Cada.
Remember Matt Cada with the Diamondbacks? 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wasn't Cada with the Rockies in the minor leagues for a minute?
For a minute. The problem with the cork eye black is that it took forever to rub that stuff off your face when the game was over.
3-2 on Suarez. They're trying to take it off with a towel, and you'd rub your skin raw trying to get it all off.
And on hot days, the sticky tape eye black was terrible. It'd fall right off.
Suarez hitting .302.
Now I can't believe I just spent nearly a batter talking about eye black, but there's a whole way to go about doing it, and it takes forever. If you miss it, if one side's higher than another. Another leadoff walk for Senzatella.
Hey, Spilly.
Yeah?
What's more challenging, learning how to put eye black on or learning how to put TV makeup on? You're talking about the precision of putting the eye black on. It's kind of like your makeup lessons, if I remember them.
No, I think eye black's more difficult than TV makeup because you just smear it over your face. You just kind of put it on one coat.
And you have a makeup remover. You don't have that for eye black, I guess.
Good point.
Maybe you should invent that.
Eye black makeup.
Scott Schebler fouls off the first pitch. Schebler pinch hit and had a base hit last night to snap an 0 for 13. Senzatella with the changeup misses badly. It's 1-1. Talking to Buddy today about the evolution of a young pitcher, and he said typically when you talk about how a pitcher matures and evolves to what they'll ultimately be, even with great talent like Senzatella has. It doesn't happen in weeks or even months. It happens over a number of seasons. A couple areas that Senzatella's focused on is improving his secondary pitches. So we've seen, as we talked about, a couple of good sliders. We've seen a good changeup today, but is it sporadic? When does it become consistent? That's part of the maturation process. 1-2 on Schebler. Another check on Suarez.
Then you also have to make sure you don't get too enamored with your secondary stuff, because the best pitch you have is your fastball. And I think as we watch young pitchers at the major league level the first time through that they see part of the league, they may have success. Second time through, once the league sees you, they'll make an adjustment. And then understanding what adjustment you need to make. If the team can't hit you, if teams can't make adjustments to your stuff, then you don't have to make huge adjustments as well. It's not until the third time through or until people start making those adjustments do you really have to change.
Senzatella gets the strikeout on Schebler for the first out in the second. That's his second strikeout. And Peraza will come up. Jose, the second baseman for Cincinnati. Peraza's hitting his last 6 ball games. Oh, and 1. Peraza, a more difficult guy to double up. He runs well.
It's gonna be hard to sit. Legs that long.
They going bowling, Spilly?
No, they're jugglers.
Oh, never mind. Question for you. Why is Peraza wearing the double flap on his helmet? He's not a switch hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Maybe he hasn't found a helmet that fits quite as comfortably. I always love the 1 ear flap because it sounds different. The game feels different, and you only get to wear that at the major league level. Minor league level, you have to wear the double ear flap. I'm going to research and find out why he wears a double ear flap.
1-2 on Peraza. Outside, 2-2.
Peraza, after the break last season, led all rookies with a .355 batting average. The Reds very high on this young kid.
We were chatting about it yesterday. Eventually, he'll be the shortstop here. Oh, see, they're juggling. You're right, Spilly.
Yeah, not bowling.
Not bowling yet. Can you juggle?
Yes. I'm an excellent multitasker.
And now it's 3-2.
So after extensive research, the reason why Peraza wears a double ear flap, he was hit in the ear diving back to first base with the open ear. So now he wears 2 to protect himself.
There's always a reasonable explanation. Makes sense. See if they put Suarez in motion here. 3-2. He's going, and it's fouled off. Rockies got a run in the first inning. Base hit from Mark Reynolds. How about that? Peraza, native of Venezuela, just a couple weeks ago turned 23. Runner going again and slowly hit Amarista. He's got to get up. He's not going to have a play. Peraza runs really well, and Amarista knew that. He was at double play depth, so he had to move to his right. Didn't have the option to go into LeMahieu because Suarez was in motion.
Well, the first step, you can see Amarista cheating towards second base to cover if he has to. That's going to go down as an error. Peraza getting down the first base line very quickly, and on the Subaru Supermo, you can see he's not able to find that baseball in his glove.
Second error in as many nights for Amarista. He had a throwing error to the plate last night. It wasn't really a bad throw, but the ball did skip away and allowed Billy Hamilton to go from second to third, or excuse me, from third to home late in the ball game. You still have a chance to get out of it. Mesoraco and then the pitcher. Mesoraco takes a ball. Told some of his story last night. He was an all-star in 2014, but he's barely played the last 2 years. He's had surgery on both of his hips, and he's also had surgery on his left shoulder, and he was late starting the season this year.
Antonio is struggling to find command. He does not have fastball. He's not even giving himself an opportunity to get to his secondary pitches.
It looks like he's spinning off a little bit.
Already 41 pitches through an inning and a third.
Here's the 2-0, and this ball lined to left, and it's going to drop. It's going to tie up the game. Now he sat on a fastball, and he got ahead 2-0. Just the second RBI this year for Mesoraco.
Leadoff walk coming back to score. Add that with the E6. You can understand why the Reds are able to score on Senzatella. Fastball right down the middle, 2-0. Mesoraco cheating, looking for fastball, and he doesn't miss. Off the end of the bat with a little top spin. Able to drop right in front of Desi out and left.
So here's Adelman. And the bunt. Nolan hold on and stayed on the bag, out at third.
He's an acrobat.
He's unbelievable, because it's one thing when the ball's hit to you. Now it's thrown to you, and he had the quickness and the wherewithal not only to make the catch so it doesn't go into the stands or down that third base line on a ricochet, but he also stayed on the bag.
Peraza is at second base. He's a fast runner. Senzatella quickly pivots, and for Nolan to jump, keep that foot on the bag in the Subaru Supermo, it takes some remarkable athlete to make that play.
Two outs, Billy Hamilton at the plate, first and second, and Billy chops the slider foul. Hamilton walked, stole second, went to third on a fly ball in the first, and was stranded there when Duvall struck out looking. And this is slowly hit to DJ, but he's got time. And that'll end the inning. So Cincinnati ties it up on the base hit by Mesoraco, and we'll go to the third. Remember this one? I'd walk through hell in a gas suit to play baseball, and he played that way with unbelievable passion. So that leads us to our CenturyLink high-speed challenge question of the day. Go to @RootSports_RM to cast your vote. Show you the results later on in our postgame show. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Always a controversial question. Ryan Spilborghs, ex-big leaguer. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
He's a Hall of Fame player, there's no question. His numbers, what he did for the game. Yes, he's a Hall of Fame player, but should he be in the Hall of Fame? No. And the answer is simple. Rule 21, as soon as you walk into a clubhouse, it says it on every single clubhouse wall. In every clubhouse in baseball, and it's been there for a long time. Ever since the early 1920 when they started after the Black Sox scandal. It's been on there. You cannot gamble on baseball. And the fact that I felt like he's been caught, Faye Vincent had the information that showed him that, yes, you did gamble, and to continually lie about it, I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I might have changed my opinion if he was to come clean, confess, and say he was sorry. But to continue on and say you're not, no. You do not get to go in the Hall of Fame. There's plenty of artifacts there if you still want to see it. There's plenty of artifacts in the Hall of Fame of Pete Rose. So he is in the Hall of Fame. He just will not have a bust in the Hall of Fame.
No plaque. I definitely understand and appreciate that sentiment. And Charlie Wayne, you said it accurately. There's no question Pete Rose is a Hall of Fame player. It's just shocking now with all the years that have gone by that the story's changed a multitude of times, and there's never been complete contrition. So 1-2. Though I would say from my perspective, if he got in, I would not have a big issue with it. If they finally said, okay, you know what? But that rule is very clear, and to keep the game, you know, as wholesome as the game's taken some lumps, the PD era, we all understand that. But people have to believe what they're seeing day to day. And that's why that gambling clause for the guys that, like yourself, who played the game, it's enormous. And it's in every clubhouse, as you said. It's prominently featured in every clubhouse.
I just, look, people can play devil's advocate. You can say whatever you want. You can say, well, he didn't do it on his team. He didn't bet against his team. However you want to say it, it doesn't matter. The rule's there for a reason. And then once you're caught, I'm all about giving second chances, third chances. As long as he shows some sort of remorse, I might have been able to look past it. But I can't.
DJ with one out. He had a double off the right field wall and eventually scored in the first inning on the 2-out knock by Reynolds. 5 in a row set down by Tim Adelman. And this is to Votto. 2 outs. Fans join in on the conversation. You can use Twitter or Instagram. Include the hashtag Toyota Talk. Should Spilly wear eye black on an upcoming broadcast?
I was asked if I could wear eye black and a double ear flap.
It'd have to be a cooler day. We don't want to subject you to that, say, in Philadelphia, where it may be quite warm. I don't care if you're hot, but if you start stinking, I got to sit next to you.
Good point.
It's all selfishly motivated.
You put me in the sound booth. Do you have one of those?
No. Put you in a timeout booth.
Been there before.
That's down low on Nolan. He had a lengthy at bat his first time against Adelman and flew out to very deep right field.
Nolan's going to get him.
Got that feeling, don't you?
You can see on takes.
Nolan eventually gets everybody, doesn't he?
He's the best for a reason.
And I don't think he's gotten hot yet. He's hitting .302, 11 homers, 30 RBIs, great numbers. Talking about May the 20th, but he hasn't gotten hot yet.
Tied him up.
Mesoraco's got to play. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Adelman. 1-1 ball game, middle of 3.
Ballpark, it's tied up at 1 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. For Antonio Senzatella on the mound, he is one of the lowest when it comes to deep count rate. Now, what does this mean? 27% of the batters he faces, he goes 3 balls and or 2 strikes. But it's the exact opposite of what he's showing today. 46 total pitches in 2 innings. That's 10 batters faced. And just 5 out of the 10 batters he's faced, he has 4 or less pitches per at bat. That's important because that goes back to Steve Foster's pitching philosophy. I talked to him before the game and he said we really rate our pitchers by trying to get to that mark of 4 pitches or less. That creates outs every hitter, they believe. And that's going to be an out to start this inning. So again, they talk about control. Control what you can control, the count and the strike zone. And today, for Senzatella early on, that fastball command that you were talking about, Spilly, it's evident in the number of pitches that he's throwing to each batter.
Yeah, you're right, Jenny. I think when you're watching Senzatella, you're jumping ahead. Yesterday we saw with Tyler Anderson. What allowed Tyler to be so good was the first pitch strike percentage. 72% in the last 3 games is fantastic. The numbers for Senzatella nowhere near 72% in the last 4 games.
And that's why his whip has gone up. 152 over his last 4, 085 his first 4. 1 ball, 1 strike on Joey Votto. Changeup's been effective against Votto. The problem is you got to get a guy like Votto to swing and miss or swing and have weak contact, and he gets 3 strikes to work with, and he is so tough, particularly with 2 strikes. 2-1. He's reached base in 31 straight ball games coming into today, which is the longest in baseball this year.
On that Subaru strike zone, Tony made that last pitch look like it was a lot closer than it was.
Well received there by Tony. 2-2. Went and stole a strike there on a changeup. Doesn't double up on it. Again, it's hard to do the same thing against a guy like Votto. Crouches a little more with 2 strikes, and look at that. Fastball, and he got the barrel to it. He is a tremendous, tremendous hitter. When he's locked in, he may be the best in the game. Last year he hit .408 in the second half.
He might be the closest guy in the major leagues to hit 400 for a season, based on his ability to take walks and his ability to shorten up his strike zone. Supermo, you see how quick and short that swing is on a fastball in. That's 96 miles an hour under his hands.
And for a power guy, he's seen 3 inches up on the bat. One of the great power hitters of all time, Barry Bonds, shortened up on the bat. Joey Votto's .408 in the second half last year was the 6th best second half in terms of batting average since 1933. Ted Williams, #1 on that list at .453.
Ouch.
Back in '57, and now there's 2 on as Duvall gets hit, and Suarez coming up.
Changeup that Senzatella gets on the side of it. Just runs away and luckily hits Duvall with that elbow brace. Every inning there's been quite a bit of traffic. Senzatella has not had a clean inning yet.
And you got a tough guy coming up. Suarez saw a lot of pitches his first time before earning a walk. He fouled off a number of pitches. So we were talking earlier about Nolan getting a feel for Tim Adelman in his first at bat when he saw a ton of pitches, and then he hit the ball to deep right field. Suarez comes up with a little more knowledge bank than he did when the game began. Third inning, 1-1, both teams with a couple of hits. And a balk. And that was really costly. Now no opportunity to turn a double play, at least a conventional one.
Now you're looking for the punch out.
Ball 1.
And you see, as soon as guys get in scoring position against Senzatella, 92-93 has been the fastball on average. First pitch there, 97 miles an hour. He can reach back and get it when he needs it. He's going to need it in this at bat.
2-0. You got Schebler, left-handed hitter, on deck. Talked about the strikeouts, and there haven't been a big number put up by Senzatella despite the mid to high 90s fastball. .29 strikeouts coming in 49 innings, and it's 3-0. This almost looks like a pitch around. He set up a force all around. I don't know if that's the intent or it's just been the outcome of the first 3 pitches. They have been close.
I would assume Suarez gets a green light.
Strike to ball ratio today, 34 strikes, 24 balls. Not awful, but not Senzatella-like. And he loses him. So now they're loaded. Third walk allowed by Senzatella. If you include the hit batter a moment ago, that's 4 freebies in 2 1/3. Enough concern that Steve Foster will jog to the mound. Former Cincinnati Red, Steve Foster.
4 times this season, Senzatella's walked 3 batters in a game. But most of those games, he's lasted at least 6 innings. 3 walks through 2 1/3.
One of his 2 strikeouts was of this man, Scott Schebler. Votto, Duvall, and Suarez all on. The only guy who earned it himself, Joey Votto. Ball 1.
You need strike 1 in a bases loaded situation. You have to try to get that first pitch. Now that you don't have it, all the power's on the hitter, even more so.
We haven't seen this from Senzatella, where he's consistently behind in the count.
And this is fastball count. This is 2-0. You can't locate off the plate. You have to go down the middle. Try your best to make a quality strike, but
it's a hitter's dream. Bases loaded, 2-0. And he's got the ball in the air to deep left. Leaping and making the catch is Desmond. And that will score the go-ahead run as Votto comes home. It was not far from going out.
Tell you what, Ian Desmond makes a great play in the throw to second base. Made it a lot closer. Duvall almost doubled off at the bag, which would have been awful for the Reds. Look at the throw. Nice athletic play by Ian.
Jose Peraza, he reached on an error by Amarista in the 2nd inning. That's out of play.
Rockies baseball is always live with the MLB.com and BAT mobile app. Stay connected all season with video highlights, stats, news, and more.
This is poked to center, and a 3rd run's going to score. Peraza plates Duvall. 3-1 Cincinnati. And it goes back to something we have discussed quite a bit. When you don't have a high swing and miss percentage, the ball's in play. And even though he was out on his front side, when the ball's in play, sometimes it's going to find open areas.
Peraza this season very good at not striking out. Only 19 strikeouts in over 156 at bats. Right there rewarded just putting the ball in play.
Mesoraco turns and fouls this one down the 3rd base line. A lot of pitches. A lot of pitches. Down 3-1 now, and you're approaching 70 pitches. And you're not out of the 3rd inning. Cargo's not going to have a play. And again, you're now in a favorable count, just like you were with Peraza. This is where the slider needs to get better and sharper, and it will over time. Changeup probably as well for Senzatella. Major league average swing and miss percentage is 24.2, about a quarter of the time. Senza, who's been great so far, don't misunderstand me, but his swing and miss percentage is 15%. That's a big difference.
Huge difference. You have the whiff percentage for Senzatella's fastball at 11%, and Senza has to rely on the fastball for 80% of his strikeouts. So you can understand how the math works out.
Now he's got a great weak contact rate, but it was weak contact a moment ago off the bat of Peraza, but it produced a run. 2-2 on Mesoraco, and that's foul past Billy Hatcher.
15.5 pitches is what Senzatella averages per inning,
which is below the major league average of a little over 17 per inning. But that has not been the case today, not even close. He's averaging right now 25 plus, or excuse me,
22 and a half.
22 and a half, 23 and a half right now. And he gets the strikeout, foul tip. In the inning, 2 runs come around on just 2 hits. There was a walk, there was a hit batter. And now the Rockies are behind 3-1 as we go to the 4th. Question is, Stripling walked in a couple of steps. Did he really want to mess with Giancarlo Stanton?
No, of course not. Does anybody want to mess with Giancarlo Stanton?
I'm thinking, hold me back, hold me back.
Yeah, hey guys, like, you're behind me, right? Yeah, nobody wants to mess with Giancarlo. Are you crazy?
Dave Roberts ran out there.
That's why you
Nobody
didn't
ran
hit
with
him. That's why you didn't hit him.
Yeah, hit him behind. I didn't hit you.
But I came close.
Donnie Baseball was hot.
Well, that team has lost 18 of its last 22. Of course he's hot.
Mark Reynolds had a sharp single on the first pitch he saw in the first inning against Tim Adelman to drive in LeMahieu, the Rockies' only run. 7 in a row set down by Adelman. Rockies got to get going again offensively. 2-1. Mark told me this morning the base hit he had in the 9th inning against Austin Bryce, he was behind 0-2. He said it was hard to see the baseball with Bryce. He said and you could appreciate this, he said it was coming out of his jersey. I couldn't see it.
We mentioned that last night about the strange 3/4 arm action, that it would be difficult for the Rockies hitters to pick up. Sometimes you get lucky.
He's been lucky. He's been good, more than lucky. And a called strike 3. That's 8 in a row, set down by Tim Adelman.
Adelman filling up that Subaru strike zone. Reynolds was up 2-1 in the count. Very easily could have been down 1-2. I don't think the 3 runs is going to stand. I think the second and third time through for the Rockies, they're going to figure out what Adelman's doing. Adelman is mixing his fastball in very nicely. But this is the Rockies lineup is a long lineup with veteran guys. And we're still waiting for Cargo to get on fire.
Yeah, so showed again some signs last night. He's hitting 7 of 8. He hit a couple balls off the bat last night in the neighborhood of 112 miles an hour. Changeup is called a strike, though it was outside on the Subaru strike zone. 1-1. Rockies 11-6 in May, 14-6 on the road. Last year they got off to a good start on the road. They were 12-8. It seems more sustainable. This is the best 20-game road start in Rockies history. And that ball's well hit, and that ball's going to be a double at least. You better hustle. Ooh, Cargo's only going to get a single. Schebler couldn't have played it any better. Where that ball's hit, it's usually an automatic double. If not, you get a good kick and you may get 3 bags.
There's nothing Cargo could do different. He came out of the box hot. He's running hard. This ball's scorched. Look at Cargo's going hard out of the box. You see the kick? And that's just a good play by Schebler in right field.
It's good. Cargo took a peek too. 1 out. That breaks the string. 8 in a row set down by Adelman. Ian Desmond at the plate. He got jammed his first time up and hit a little 1-hop flare to Zach Cozart. With a guy, Spilly, tell me if you'd agree with this, with a guy like Adelman, who's not a big stuff guy, when he falls behind, it becomes a much different at bat because it's harder for him to get into counts.
The thing Adelman's doing tonight very well is when he does get in those fastball counts, he's throwing the off speed. He's mixing in the changeup.
And there you see when he's behind the count, as most pitchers, you're going to have a much better average against. It's been unpredictable so far. 1-1.
He's doing a good job of mixing the pitches, his fastball inside, outside, down and up. Hitters count like this one right here. He's getting those Rockies hitters off the fastball by mixing in the changeup. He's able to throw it for a strike. There's a changeup.
This ball well hit to left field and deep, but playable for Duvall. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Amarista. You got to admire this guy, his perseverance. There's a degree from Georgetown. Didn't give up on his dream when Baltimore released him. 2 years in Indy ball. He told the story earlier, right down the road, a team in Florence, Kentucky said, yeah, we don't need you. Coach made a couple calls. He ended up with the Lincoln Salt Dogs briefly. Then he was on to El Paso with the El Paso Diablos after a trade. This foul's fouled off. And he asked El Paso if they could trade him closer to home. Again, he's from Staten Island. So they obliged, and they sent him to the New Jersey Jackals. We're working out of the bullpen, not as a starter. He had a terrific year in the Can-Am League.
It's great.
And that's when he got signed by the Reds. Now he's back as a starter. Two strikes on Amarista. He lined to center his first at bat.
Yeah, I love stories where the guy grinds and finds a way. John Axford was a great story of another person that was in the Can-Am League selling shoes.
He was selling shoes, huh?
Or cell phones. It was A.J. Griffin, who's a pitcher now at the Texas Rangers. He was the shoe salesman.
Well, we like to discuss these things because, yeah, there's first-round picks. And there's guys that get paid a lot of money, and they're going to get every opportunity to make it. Some do, some don't. And then there's guys like Adelman, guys like Mike Redmond. Mike Redmond, undrafted out of Gonzaga, gets to the big leagues, hopes to stay a few days, ends up staying 12 years. Amarista. Guarantee you nobody was unloading the Brinks truck to sign him.
That's why I love this game.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's great. Every size, shape, doesn't matter where you've come from, you have a chance to play.
Fourth inning, Rockies trailing 3-1, though they scored first. Cargo at first with 2 outs. At one time, Cargo was a guy that was going to be a threat each year to steal 20, 25, maybe 30 bases, but he's trying to protect the legs the last couple of years. This ball's well hit right center field, and Billy Hamilton can't catch it, and that's going to score Cargo. Went off his glove. Amarista to second with a double, and it's 3-2. The fact that Billy Hamilton even got in the neighborhood of that baseball was something else.
I cannot believe he even made a play on that. Oh my gosh, Billy Hamilton. The amount of distance traveled. Amarista, that's an easy double. Billy's going to have to travel at least 90 feet to try to get there, and almost makes that play.
Thankfully, he did not for the Rockies. And Amarista comes through yet again. 5th RBI in the last 20 hours. And the Rockies within a run. An intentional walk to Tony Walters will bring up Senzatella.
A little ninja, Bud Black going back to the well. Second time this season that Amarista has played in back-to-back games.
You know what it's time for? First Major League RBI for Antonio Senzatella.
That'd be nice.
Popped out to short. Got the question last night on Twitter, who's the Rockies' best hitting pitcher? Now, Chatwood's had the most success. He's had more at-bats than any of the current rotation members. Chatty's such a good athlete. But I think when you look at the best swings, it's Anderson or Freeland. Wouldn't you agree? That's a strike.
It's hard to agree on which pitcher is the best.
I know you hate pitchers. And
No, I don't hate.
I
don't hate them. I don't like breaking down their swings. I would say probably Kyle Freeland has shown me the best swing. But I will say this: Michael Lorenzen, that's relief pitcher in that Reds bullpen. He takes batting practice in the 4th group every single day. They use him as a pinch hitter. He's hit a home run already this season.
Alexi Amarista makes it 3-2.
Great American Ballpark is the home to the largest team Hall of Fame in all of baseball. There's a rich history here when you look around, and that's because they were the first professional team in the game. Let's take a look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. In 1869, originally called the Cincinnati Red Stockings, they won their first game by a score of 45-9. In fact, they would play 82 games before even taking a loss. Now guys, that's some streak.
That is a great streak, Jenny. And here's how shocking it was to the investors and the fans of the Red Stockings back then. They were so dismayed, disappointed, and crushed by that loss, nobody showed up at their next game, literally. And the investors all backed out. They said, what? You're going to throw a loss in there after 80-something straight wins? We're done. That's when Marge Schott first got involved with the club.
No, she's not. No, come on.
2 strikes on Tim Adelman. And that's bounced right back to Senza. 1 out in the 4th. You know, nothing more. Heard it many times after putting up a run. Senzatella to get the Rockies right back on offense. Another note on the oldest major league franchise, the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
They were known as the Redlegs between 1954 and 59. And I think you know the reason why. Back then, McCarthyism became rampant, and the fear of communism, and they did not want to be known in that time frame as the Reds, so they changed their name between 54 and 59 of the Redlegs. Billy Hamilton
has red legs.
Has red legs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Established in 1869. This is a great baseball town. It's a great town overall. You know, it's an area, we said, of a couple million people, but it has that small Midwestern charm to it.
First major league game was here in Cincinnati.
Your first big league game was here?
Yep. On Jenny Cavanaugh's birthday. July 16th is her birthday. And my first big league game was July 16th, 2005.
And he's done it again. Senzatella's walked Hamilton. That is walk number 4 for Senzatella. He is living dangerously. Buddy Black's had that kind of pensive look as he's watched this unfold throughout the afternoon. He walked in the first, stole second eventually, and Cozart rips this ball toward the corner, and Ian Desmond cuts it off and throws back towards second, as he should do. Keeps Cozart there. It's first and third for Votto.
It has been a struggle for Antonio to just find good location with his fastball. Cozart had a good swing the last at bat, middle with that fastball. And Billy Hamilton, he's fun to watch. I could watch Billy Hamilton run all day. Goes easy first to third, and that's Desmond with the high baseball IQ, making sure you get the ball to second base, because Cozart was rounding first base hard in case that ball went to third.
Yeah, it goes back. Make a guy who's a 265 hitter in Billy Hamilton, make him earn his way on. And now you got Votto first and third, the last guy you want to see. Singleton scored last inning. Rockies just got a run back to get to 3-2.
Oh man,
he was on that at 97.
Very first at bat for Joey Votto. Took an amazing effort by Charlie Blackmon in center field to run down the baseball. And last inning and third inning, a 2-strike hit got the rally running.
Chris Russin's gotten up for the Rockies, way outside, 1-1. Votto, for a power hitter, for anybody, he doesn't strike out much. Just 21 times and 148 at bats. Darren Holmes looking in as Russin gets ready. Two and one. Votto takes the most meticulous BP you will see.
Yeah, his BP is not fun to watch.
He doesn't try to hit it in the seats. He just wears out left center field. See if Senzatella can make a pitch here. 2-1. Good spot. 2-2.
Not a lot of players in baseball, especially at the major league level, when you see how many strikeouts there are in this day and age. It's a well-located pitch on the super strike zone, where a batter will have more walks than strikeouts. There's only a handful of players that have those type of numbers. Bryce Harper right now is another guy.
Just missed. That was well located at 95. See where that was on the Subaru strike zone. Good call by Jim Wolf.
I mean, Votto, I would assume that Votto sees it 3 centimeters off the plate.
All the great hitters, they don't have 20/20 vision, they have 20/10 vision. 3-2. Runner going. This is a double play ball, but now they get one out. LeMahieu got there just in time because Cozart was in motion, and Amarista stayed with it. I thought for a moment he'd just take the out at first and concede the run. That is huge. And of course, Brian Price is going to check with his video department to make sure the force out.
He's out. Jim Riggleman just told Brian Price he's out. That's a heck of a play.
Wonderful double play. Joey Votto into a 6-4-3. Rockies within a run. Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism, Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why travelwyoming.com. Cannot tell you how big a double play that was. The Rockies just turned. So here's Blackmon, third time through for the Rockies.
Let's take a look at that play. Amarista very quick on the Subaru Super Mode to just feed him. And look, he's throwing it to the spot where he thinks DJ's going to get to. DJ with the opposite foot to turn and pivot. And for DJ, that's not his normal shortstop partner. And that goes to show you the amount of effort these guys put in during batting practice to make sure they work with each other. Amarista is not your everyday shortstop. We all know that. But today, he's their shortstop. And for their awareness and to understand where each other is going to be, that made the play.
2 strikes on Blackmon. And Charlie with an 0-2 base hit. That's his first knock of the evening or afternoon, whichever you prefer. So Blackmon, the tying run aboard to lead off the 5th, and here comes LeMahieu. And infield guys will get some reps during batting practice with each other, but sometimes if if your hitting group is up and that's when, say, Amarista takes ground balls, you may not get as many times to feel each other out. And DJ had a little further to go because Votto was at the plate. Left-handed bat.
Third time through now for the Rockies facing Adelman. Adelman's batting average jumps up quite significantly, almost 200 points. Teams are hitting .421 third time through.
DJ a double and a ground ball to the right side. What Adelman's done a good job of so far today is keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's given up a lot of home runs for the number of innings he's pitched. In fact, he averages 2.3 home runs against over 9 innings, which is the 4th worst in baseball. The 2nd worst is the guy the Rockies will face tomorrow in Bronson Arroyo. You and I looked at each other during the commercial break after the top of the 1st and said, and this is not to be disrespectful of Tim Adelman, but you just got the feeling the Rockies were going to have success today. And to Adelman's credit, he's done a good job.
He's pitched.
He has pitched. Rockies got a run in the 1st, and then he retired at one point 8 in a row. And the Rockies got a run in the 4th on the 2-out double by Amarista to score Cargo. Charlie takes off and the throw's not going to get him, and it goes into center field. Charlie's going to move up. Billy Hamilton's throw is not handled at third by Suarez. Now the tying run with nobody out is 90 feet away. That's been a missing element for most of this year for the Rockies. And Charlie with a stolen base, and he forces Cincinnati into some sloppy play.
It almost looked like a hit and run, pitch up and in. And to add insult to injury, or injury to insult, however you want to say it, Suarez takes this ball straight off his kneecap. That one's going to hurt. He's still stretching it out down the third baseline, but yes, that's important for the Rockies to be able to steal a base.
That's a big bag right there for Charlie. Just his 3rd this year. Ground ball to short, and that will tie up the game. DJ does his job. He's got his 14th RBI, and Blackmon hitting ability behind in the count, and then the speed element, and the Rockies are back to even.
I will count that as a manufactured run. 1-2 punch at Charlie and DJ.
Good job, DJ.
You win games in a different manner each day. You know, there are days that it's fun. You're going to watch the Rockies play pepper with the seats and hit 3-4 home runs. Always entertaining. There's some other days you're going to have to find ways to produce offense. 3-3, 1 out, nobody on in the 5th. Nolan a deep fly to right, and he fouled out to the catcher Mesoraco. He's got a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. And once again, in a fastball count, Adelman refuses to give in.
Pulled the string, threw the changeup. Now he's going to come inside. Probably not a great idea. Still amazing how teams try to get inside of Nolan with the fastball on the inside part of the plate. Just can't miss in there.
Well, he misses in off the plate, so Nolan walks to first, and that'll bring up Mark Reynolds. Let's go downstairs, see what Jenny's up to. Jenny?
Yeah, guys, I talked about DJ and Nolan before the game about facing their 3rd starting pitcher in a row who they haven't seen. They both said it's an uncomfortable feeling. By now, what they know is his movement. Obviously, the 3rd time through the order, they've picked up on that. But going in, they both said they watch a lot of video. That's where they find out the tendencies. They look at the charts, scouting reports. They look for the out pitch, is what DJ said. But most of all, it's about being prepared. And for Nolan, he said it's something we had to do every single day in the minor leagues. So you kind of have to revert to that same scenario when you face a guy like this in the big leagues.
Mark Reynolds jumped all over that off-speed pitch, hooked it foul, had home run distance. Those two guys, pretty good players, right? First base.
Those two guys?
Yeah, those two.
Really good players. These guys are elite.
Reynolds was on that 2-strike count.
Joey Votto signed through 2024.
And he's the one guy, it appears, and understandably so, that the Reds are going to hang on to. They've made a number of trades the last couple of years. Brandon Phillips most recently, a couple of years ago, Todd Frazier, trying to stockpile their farm system. 1 and 2, and their farm system went from a consensus lower 3rd farm system to a more consensus upper 3rd farm system, and it'll probably get better here in a month because they have the 2nd pick overall in the June draft. Nolan takes off, and it's fouled back by Mark Reynolds.
Nolan's probably going to smile because he had that base stolen. And 2 strikes, you can't expect Mark Reynolds to take it. Let's get an extra wind spring.
How about Mark? So many glowing stats. He has an OPS of over 1,100 against right-handed pitching this year. Back even at 2 and 2. Down the line foul. You look at the first 43 games of 2017 for Mark Reynolds and compare it to the first 43 games in other seasons, and this is by far his best start. He had 12 home runs at this point 2 other times. The RBI is the best, batting average clearly the best. Still alive. And his on base percentage is around 41%. Terrific. That's Joey Votto territory, right?
He's up there. People always ask you, well, why is it Mark Reynolds on the All-Star ballot? Why is it his name on that ballot? Oftentimes that ballot is represented by the roster at the end of spring training, and Reynolds' name just doesn't go.
Well, it's projected. It's printed, I believe, around the end of spring training, and the projected first baseman for each team is written on the ballot. The projected first baseman for the Rockies was Ian Desmond. So it wasn't a slight
Nope.
of Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds is going to be all-star worthy, clearly. And if not through a write-in process, and I know the Rockies fans will get out and fill up the ballot box for Mark Reynolds, but you have to believe he'll be added on by managerial staff. This ball ripped to center field. Another great at bat for Mark Reynolds. And here's Nolan trying to go first to third, and he will. Safe at third.
Uh-oh. Let's make sure Nolan's okay. Off the bat, Nolan was planning to go first to third. He never broke stride. Scotty Garrett just checking him out.
It's his right forefinger. He just pointed to it.
Nolan was moving.
Now they're also going to review this to see if he came off the bag. Cincinnati is challenging it.
Oh, he's safe.
We can't see the other side. It's unbelievable hustle by Nolan. Trying to help his team on the base pass to go ahead. Is a hand still there? Here's the good news. Nolan has sent Scotty Garrett back to the dugout. Rockies' outstanding assistant trainer. So evidently he's okay, and now hopefully the outcome of this is that he's safe at third.
It's always the rule of thumb. People will say, well, why don't you just slide feet first? Well, some guys like to slide feet first. Other guys like to slide head first. And when you're sliding head first, you have much more ability to move around, change your hands, do the swim move. Oh, and that's why he gets a cleat on his hand.
Where were we? And I still think the fingertips on the bag anyhow, but where were we recently? Oh, it was Chase Utley, and I can't believe he pushed Ian Desmond off the bag, and they reversed the call in New York, which to me was shocking.
Luckily, this is a plastic cleat that Suarez is wearing down at third base. Otherwise, if that was the metal spike.
Out at third base.
No way. I don't like that call one bit. Anytime he gets stepped on, I don't know. You get stepped on at third base, you're safe, and your body's natural reaction is to jolt. And you keep the tag on, and now you're out because of that.
You wonder if that's something the rules committee's going to address going forward. We've seen it twice now. We've seen a manipulation of a runner with what we were describing a moment ago with Chase Utley, Ian Desmond at first last week, and now this one, which
he gets stepped on. I mean, the guy gets hurt on a play. It's inadvertent, just like him coming off the bag.
1-1 on Cargo.
And that's not the spirit of the rule. That's not how this entire replay system was designed. And this is the part where I think as players and as fans kind of get frustrated. Nolan's safe. He's safe. He beat the throw. He gets stepped on and watch his body move. Ouch. Like, how's that? That's not fair.
This was the same thing the other day with Utley. And the analogy I make is to football. When's the whistle blow? He's safe. The play is over. If Nolan yells timeout, just like we see it in basketball, tied up,
right?
Ball gets tied up, timeout, timeout,
or you jumping out of bounds,
right?
And the guy calls timeout.
They actually eliminated that a few years ago, but I understand your point. And Why is that play not over? 3-1. Cargo walks. And now here comes Desmond.
And I'm not barking just because it happened to the Rockies. I would bark if this same play happened to a Reds player. I would say that's not fair. That's not fair that a guy inadvertently steps on somebody and causes injury and forces a player to do a move that it's not the natural move. It's not the natural play. The natural play was sliding through it. He gets stepped on and you move.
You stomp a guy in the hand, he reacts, and you go, oh, he's out. That's ridiculous. And I agree with you. I'm not, you know, this sounds like, you know, partisan. Yeah, we are partisan. We do the Rockies games. We want to see the Rockies do well. But had it been the other way, I'd say
I would have said the same thing.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
It's not as it should be. Mac Jenkins out conducting a large conference. Drew Storen, the former National, is throwing in the Reds' pen. 3-3 game, 96 pitches in for Adelman. Rockies with 2 out in the 5th. And they have 2 on. Reynolds in scoring position. Cargo's been on 3 times today. Ian Desmond, a bouncer to short, and a fly ball to deep left field. The Rockies can make it right with their bats right now. Desmond with a big swing and a miss, 0-1.
Desmond has been very good in these type of situational at bats. 6 for 13 with runners in scoring position, but even better, 3 for 5 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Right field, base hit. Reynolds around third, he'll score, and Cargo goes first to third. Ian Desmond comes through, and the Rockies are in front 4-3. 10th ribby for Desmond. And that will be all for Tim Adelman. Here comes Brian Price.
This is just the length of the Rockies lineup. Ian Desmond, 3rd time today facing Adelman. So good in these situations. Now he's 4 for 6. And now the out at third base doesn't really matter.
Rockies out in front, pitching change in Cincinnati.
Desmond puts the Rockies up 4-3 in the top of the 5th. Nebraska Cornhusker fans, watch the Rockies take on the Giants on Saturday, June the 17th. Purchase the special Nebraska ticket package to receive the limited edition Huskers themed Rockies hat. Drew Storen now in the game. Former Washington Nationals closer has found a home here in Cincinnati. Sub-2 ERA. Earlier in the season, had an immaculate inning.
Stay hot, Alexi Amarista. Amarista with a double in the 4th to drive in the Rockies' 2nd run. Last night he had 4 ribbies. All 4 in the 8-run 6th inning for Colorado. Carr goes at 3rd. Desmond, who can run, is at 1st. He takes off, and it's fouled off. Storen last year was in the American League with both Toronto and Seattle. Twice in the postseason with the Nationals. Storen, a Midwestern kid. He's from Indianapolis, not all that far from Cincinnati. Went to Stanford.
Smart.
Generally, we assume that. And this ball in the air to left field. Duvall.
Oh,
This is it. He couldn't see it. 1 run is scored. Desmond to 3rd. And Amarista with a Sun double. 5-3. Karma. Not on Duvall, but on that out call in 3rd.
Oh my.
Hazy sunshine, and Duvall just couldn't see it.
And he's wearing glasses. It's not like he's, I mean, you can't see the baseball.
I know, I'm sure that happened to you at various
it's
points
the
in
worst
your career.
feeling in the world.
It's got to be a sick feeling.
There's not a worse feeling in the world than losing the baseball when you can see it, especially if it's a routine fly ball to left to end an inning. Wow.
So it goes as a double, an RBI for Amarista. Another intentional walk to Walters. Senzatella with the bases loaded against Drew Storen.
I'm sick to my stomach for Duvall out in left field. I know that feeling. It's the worst.
Amarista now 5 for 7, 6 ribbies in the first game and a half of this series. Senzatella base hit up the middle. Amarista around 3rd. Hamilton's throw is up the line. 2-run single. First 2 ribbies for Antonio Senzatella. And the Rockies are up 7-3.
This inning is ridiculous.
Remember his last time up, he had a couple of guys on, he struck out. He didn't waste any time. He got a center cut pitch and he ripped it.
Extra opportunity for the Rockies with the ball misplayed in left field. Senzatella with 1 batting glove on the wrong hand. Shoots one straight up the middle. Billy Hamilton trying to get Amarista. And Senza loves it. He should.
Here's Blackman for the 2nd time in the inning. And he takes on the inside corner for a strike.
Wow, what an inning.
This is starting to feel a whole lot like last night's 6th inning. I'm sure from Cincinnati's perspective, the Rockies got 8 in the 6th last night. They have 5 here in the 5th. Turned a 1-run deficit into a 4-run advantage.
Reds are probably wondering where the Rockies are hiding that lucky rabbit's foot. Take it any way you can get it.
This is poked to shallow left. This is going to be a problem. This drop for Charlie. The 8th run scores as Walters trots home. And Blackman has his 32nd RBI. Just keep passing the baton.
We knew at the start of this inning, third time through for Adelman, that the Rockies were going to have better shot at getting 420 against him. And then this inning just started to unravel. Charlie sitting back on the changeup, just putting the ball in play on the Subaru Supermo. And when things are going right, things go right.
Well, you knew this was going to happen at some point because Antonio Senzatella's on the hill. And Senza, though he's pitched brilliantly this year, when he goes to the hill, the Rockies respond offensively. He's averaged getting better than 8 runs of support this year. And guess what the Rockies have right now? 8 runs.
Get tacos.
That's coming tomorrow, yep. The book on Adelman's close, 4 2/3, 6 runs, 7 hits. He walked 4, 1 intentionally, struck out 4.
Oh,
DJ gets hit. And now they're loaded up for Arenado.
Scotty Garrett, Bud Black trying to chase down DJ as he's running to first.
He's running away from them.
Drew Soren trying to go with the sidearm fastball, changing up the look. On the Subaru Supermo, you can see the low quarter arm angle and how the ball just runs, catches him right in the rib. DJ's a hockey player. He enjoyed it.
I don't know if he enjoyed it, but I think he'll be okay.
See the smirk? He's happy.
That's like a long conversation for DJ right there he just had. Hope Jordan's looking in. I'm sure she is. DJ's wife.
She's like, it's not funny, Spilly.
No.
But that is a long conversation.
That was a long conversation. She knows that. Here's Nolan with the bases loaded. Rockies now with 10 hits, 8-3. At one point they were down 3-1. And that's inside. Did you have trouble at times being patient when you came up with the bases loaded?
You had to treat it. You tried to erase your mind and think that there's nobody on base, and treat it like you're leading off an inning.
2-0. They say Nolan went around 2-1.
It's also one of those situations with the bases loaded. If you can just get your mind into that position where, all right, there's nobody on base, but I'm going to be real selective. I'm going to be really picky. Even with 2 strikes, I'm going to be really picky.
2-1. And Nolan hits it in the air to Hamilton in right center field. Really in right field as Schebler gets out of the way. Rockies throw up a 6 spot in the 5th. They're up 8-3. Time for our Rocky routine, brought to you by UC Health. This is what usually takes place many hours before a ball game. Stu Cole walking around the outfield, and he's generally joined by Ron Gideon.
Stu Cole wears the headphones because I usually follow behind him, heckling him.
Giddy's got a longer stride, so he's out in front, I guess, to Stu here. Are they racing?
No.
Sorry, Rocky routine, brought to you by UC Health. That is a good man right there, Stu Cole.
I love Stu Cole. Had him as my manager throughout the minor leagues. He was special. There was a time he was managing a team, Glenn Allen Hill, the hitting coach, in 2004 in the COL League. And the Visalia Oaks were by far the worst team in the entire California League the second half of the season. We were so bad, in fact, that we set a California League record for the worst record in the second half ever. And I hit third in that lineup, and I used to go up to Stu Cole and I'd ask him, I was like, can you please just get me out of the 3-hole? I'm hitting 240. He says, who else do you want me to put? You're the best, worst player I got. And it was that type of mentality. He always had a little bit of faith in me, but always said it in a way that made me laugh.
Yeah, he was managing the Salt River Rafters in the Arizona Fall League the year that Nolan Arenado declared that he's going to be an impact player one day in the big leagues. Nolan was the MVP of the AFL that year. You know who else was in the AFL that year? A guy by the name of Bryce Harper and a guy by the name of Mike Trout. And
he managed those guys?
Stu, well, he managed against a few of those guys. It was that year the AFL was loaded, the Arizona Fall League. And
so did that team win?
I believe it did. Stu had a great team down there.
I would hope so. So you're telling me Trout, Nolan, and Harper were on the same team?
Yeah, look at Nolan, by the way. Is that pretty good? Do something on defense. You haven't done anything yet. All right, we'll take that. No, they weren't all on the same team.
Oh, okay.
There are other teams down there. That's what makes it a league, Spilly.
I mean, this is another ho-hum play to Nolan's left. Right after the play, I always look into the visiting dugout to see the reaction. And they just look at each other. Grown major league players and coaches look at each other and they shake their head.
Yeah, you do that. You do a lot of strange things, but that's not strange. That makes sense. When big leaguers are going, come on, that's crazy. What is routine with him?
I guess that play's routine. It shouldn't be routine. That's a highlight for most guys. That's a highlight play for most players that play third base.
You never get clean hops. You rarely do at third base. Yet, we're sitting here on May the 20th. He gets to more baseballs than anybody who plays third. And he's the only third baseman in the game that doesn't have an error. And I don't even with Nolan, you're going to make errors there. It's impossible not to. Well, maybe. 2-2 on Eugenio Suarez. Suarez has walked twice. I like Senzatella's approach this inning. He's got the big lead. He may be done after this inning by pitch count. This will make him officially the pitcher of record if he can get through the fifth. But he's being really aggressive.
And he's coming right after him. 96, 97, 98 miles an hour. 97 right there. 94 pitches into the game.
This ball's well hit center field, and it's going to get on out of here. Suarez with his 9th home run of the year.
I'd much rather see that than a walk. Senzatella, after 2 straight fastballs away where he couldn't locate it, has to come after him 3-2 with the lead. That ball's hit a long way. He can live with that.
So it's 8-4 with Schebler up. And he gets beat by a fastball at 96. If you're just joining us, Senzatella has dealt with sporadic command issues today. He's walked 4 in the game, which is really uncharacteristic of Antonio. He's also hit a batter. And you see Chad Qualls getting ready. That's a strike at the knees. Change up. 1-2. Changeup's probably been his best secondary pitch today. Would you agree?
I agree.
And he gets a strikeout of Schebler at 96, and that is his 4th strikeout, 2 outs, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Peraza. He's right at 100 pitches.
Buddy's looking at those numbers. You're going to try to protect your young arms. And Buddy knows he would love to get Senzatella through this 5th inning. Get him in line for a win. More importantly, the team for a win. It's not about personal stats. We know that. But you also like the guy to at least finish 5 innings. And that's probably why Bud is pacing.
You can just see that Senzatella's letting it all air out right now. He realizes this is it. He realizes I got to get 3 outs, and he knows where he is. He's going to hand it off to the bullpen. 0-2. That's a good spot at 99 miles an hour.
He's coming after him.
Yeah, on his 103rd pitch. Peraza reached on an error in the 2nd and had an RBI single in the 3rd.
Overthrew that last fastball.
Well, that's no longer Chad Qualls. That's Mike Dunn. Got him. He went. Tony will have to get the out at first. He does so. And Antonio Senzatella with his 5th strikeout. He did give up a home run to Suarez in the inning. 8-4 Colorado leads going to the 6th. performance. Antonio Senzatella's on the plus side. Didn't have great command today, but through 5 innings, he's got the lead. 4 walks, 1 of them intentional, 5 strikeouts. That's for Kubota pitching performance. He's in line. If the Rockies can do their job in the pen, which they have done every outing this year when they are asked to protect the lead, he'll improve to 7-1. 8-4 as we go to the 6th inning. Guy just got called back to the big leagues today. Asher Wojciechowski is on the hill. Big right-hander for Cincinnati.
Yeah, wait till you see this guy's name. I had to practice my brown backboard, black backboard. See, I can't even do it right before I got to this one. Wojciechowski.
When the letters of your name can do a lap around your number, you have a long name. It's really easy done. It's Wojciechowski. To see is silent.
That's a great last name.
Mark Reynolds, and Mark fouls it off. Reynolds, all he's done today is throw out another couple of hits. RBI, runs scored, 2 for 3. Reds have used 20 different pitchers now this season. One, two. How many times at this level, with all the information you have, even on minor league guys coming up, all the video, does it become see it and hit it?
Most of the time, that's all that information. You try to keep it as see it and hit it.
Wojciechowski strikes out Mark, 1 out, and that'll bring up Cargo. Cargo today a walk, a single that one-hopped the right field wall, and it would have been a double if not for a great play by Schebler. Got it on 1 hop and fired a strike to second. Cargo had to slam on the brakes. Cargo walked again last inning. He has scored 2 runs today. Scooter Jeanette's in at second base. Cincinnati puts the shift on, and Cargo goes the other way. And this is going to be caught in foul ground by Suarez. Hitters, I'll let you embellish this, Spilly, hate when there's a lot of foul territory.
Don't like it. Hitters want every advantage you could possibly give them. Not a lot of foul territory, a nice batter's eye, good lighting, no shadows, warm, not cold, no wind unless it's blowing straight out, which it's not. Wojciechowski, originally a first-round draft pick by the Blue Jays back in 2010. Pitched 16 innings in 2015 with the Houston Astros.
2-0. It's got to be a special day for him when you have been gone and you've become a kind of a journeyman. You've been gone from the big leagues for well over a year. There's got to be some self-doubt if you'll ever get back in your mind. 2-2 on Desmond. Big RBI single last inning to right field.
Looking to come out to a game, there's always great Rockies ticket deals available, so bookmark Rockies.com/specials and check back throughout the season.
And this is on the ground to short. Play by Cozart. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Wojciechowski. Rockies lead 8-4, middle of 6 at Great American Ballpark.
bottom of the 6th. There's Billy Hamilton. I'd call him the world's fastest man, but that would just be false. He's one of baseball's fastest man. In fact, he had the 3rd fastest home run in the StatCast era. And that got us thinking, let's do a little Billy Spilly challenge. You know what I'm saying? We, of course, know Spilly's famous grand slam in Rockies history. So let's time him around the base path and see who was faster. I think Spilly kind of got a little far there. We've got the arms up in the air. Maybe it slowed him down. Maybe not. They're looking neck and neck. And all of a sudden, well, Billy Hamilton comes in 0.4 faster than Ryan Spilwer. 16.2 at one time. That was the fastest home run. Spilly, I'm really proud of you, buddy. I mean, that's pretty cool to say that you were only 0.4 seconds slower than Billy Hamilton at one point in your life.
It took me a little bit more time than Billy Hamilton because I was busy yelling for the Giants to just get off the field. So, you know, not able to go fully onto it.
Here's what I witnessed, and I'm just being objective.
Okay, here we go.
I love you, and that was a much bigger home run than the one Billy happened to hit that day. Billy was jogging, and you were sprinting your bleep off.
That's what I was going to say. Billy's like barely breaking a sweat.
Billy's jogging.
And if you took Spilly's heart rate after that, it would have been through the roof.
It still is through the roof.
Billy could have done a Jimmy Piersall and run backwards around the bases faster than 90% of the people in the league.
I bet you if I started at first base and tried to beat Billy home, he would pass me by halfway to 3rd.
Right now?
Oh, yeah, right now.
Because you'd blow out right now.
No, I wouldn't blow out.
Chad Qualls on the hill. Mesoraco hammers this. This is gone. This is into the 2nd deck. And now it's 8-5.
Rockies yet to have a clean inning in this game. The Reds just hanging on, keeping it interesting. Mesoraco, an all-star in 2014, he knew it right off the bat. That's a flat sinker. Comes the souvenir.
This is slowly hit, and the communication wasn't there. Amarista wanted to take the baseball, and he deferred at the last moment. And that's the first time, I think, because you don't have two guys that have worked a ton together, you see where it hurt the Rockies. Amarista, it looked like, let it go to LeMahieu, and it appears he could have made the play.
This ball, yep. You see Amarista trying to get in front of it. And just based on the shift, this is probably Amarista's baseball. DJ's so used to traveling and getting that baseball on his own.
So Scooter Gennett is aboard, and now it's Billy Hamilton. Nolan shortens up at 3rd. Hamilton shows bunt. Once again, he does not have a bunt hit this year, and he takes strike 1. This is a huge inning. It's a bridge inning. The Rockies bullpen is well rested with their late inning guys, but that usually begins with the 7th frame. That's why Qualls has been asked to get through the 6th inning. Senzatella goes 5 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a hit batter.
Mike Dunn getting ready probably for Joey Votto.
Good speed on the bases. Unbelievable speed at the plate. Gennett can run at first.
Last 3 appearances for Chad Qualls, very good. He has not allowed a base runner. Getting an inning in each of those appearances.
Hamilton hits this ball towards center field. It's dying, laying out, making the catch is Blackmon. A great play by Charlie Blackmon.
Blackie taking a ball away from Hamilton. Ball dying on him last second, has to make a late adjustment to get back to the baseball and makes a fantastic catch. Yard sale after he catches it.
Now here's Zach Cozart, 1 for 3. To the best start of his career by far. He's hitting .352. 1 for 3 today. It's down to .351. Tragic. See if Chad can get a ground ball here. 2-0. Get a ground ball. You don't have to deal with Votto. Old Dunn off to the 7th inning. Balls throughout his lengthy career. He's gotten a ton of ground balls with that good sinker. He pulls that fastball. It's 3-0. That was an amazing catch. And a 4-pitch walk, and now the tying run comes up in Votto, and here comes Buddy Black. Buddy's going to double. Yep, he's going to make a couple moves here. We'll tell you about it when we return. It's 8-5. Rockies in front. 1 out, 2 on in the bottom of the 6th. The Rockies will have just 5 games at home after returning from this longest road trip of the year, and they'll play 3 against the Cardinals and 2 against Seattle, and then the Rockies will trail the Mariners back up north to the Pacific Northwest and take on the Mariners at Safeco for 2 more. So Mike Dunn's aboard. Joey Votto's coming up. 1 out, a run in on the home run by Mesoraco. Rockies up 8-5, and into the ball game is Parra, and he is in left field. Desmond, who made the last out, comes off the field.
As Ian Desmond was running out of left field, he ran past Gerardo Parra and pointed at the sun. And he saw Adam Duvall misplay a ball in left field because of the sun, and Parra pointed to his sunglasses on top of his hat and said, "Thanks. Got it."
So here's Votto. Key situation last time up. He bounced into a 6-4-3. Dunn misses there, ball 1. Votto this year, 303 against righties, 243 left on left. Jeanette at second. Cozart is at first. It's 2-0.
It's also the difficulty of, for a manager, when you're managing a bullpen, when the starter doesn't get past 6 innings. It's been the Achilles heel for the Cincinnati Reds throughout the season. They have not had many starts past 4 innings. And for Buddy, now you're having to manage 12 outs.
The Rockies have walked 5 in this game and hit a batter. It's a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. With the lefty out there, Amarista's got to work Jeanette a little bit at second base. Votto uses the whole field, so it's a pretty sizable opening on the left side. And that's 3-1. Reds improved this year. They don't feel like it right now, having lost 7 in a row. But it's a very solid offensive team. And their bullpen this year has been solid. Their defense has been very good. Their starting pitching has been the biggest issue. So this is not an easy lineup to navigate. I know it doesn't have a bunch of huge names other than Votto. The guy on deck can swing it, and Duvall. The guy behind him can swing it, and Suarez.
For the season, the Reds have scored more runs per game than the Rockies have.
Three and one.
Have to go with your best pitch if you're Mike Dunn. Votto and Dunn have faced off against each other 11 times.
Here's the 3-2. Mike reached back for a little something extra. And he loses him. Now they're loaded up for Duvall. That's 6 walks and a hit batter.
Votto 1 for 11 in his career against Mike Dunn, ends up working a walk. This is a big at bat. Dunn comes in to face Votto. Tries to get him to chase with the off speed. He's not able to find a way to get him out. See, he's on top of him with the fastball, and then one last time trying to get that off-speed pitch to find the corner. Misses. And that's the difficulty of Joey Votto. He does not expand his strike zone.
Duvall 0 for 2, and he was hit by a pitch. Scary guy at the plate. He had 33 jacks last year. Reds have scored in 4 of the 6 innings. And that misses 1-0. One ball, one strike.
Done basically a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. Against lefties, will use his slider about the same amount of times that he uses it with his fastball.
That's a base hit to left. Parra with it quickly. And one run is scored. It's 8-6.
Good at bat by Duvall. He gets a slider he can handle. He's not thinking grand slam. He stayed short swing. Keeps the train moving for the Cincinnati Reds.
Suarez, 2 walks and a home run. This is going to get another run home. And now it's a 1-run ball game, 8-7. Rockies were up 8-3, and the Reds are right back in it. Books closed on Qualls. He gives up 3 runs in a third of an inning.
And the walk comes back to score. Cozart reaching base on a walk, a 4-pitch walk.
And the other thing that hurt Qualls, kind of the miscommunication on that ground ball up the middle.
That happens. You can live with that. 4-pitch walk, I don't think Qualls will be happy about.
Not out of the woods yet. Scott Schebler at the plate. Big, strong dude. 10 home runs, 21 driven in, 22 actually. He had a sac fly earlier. Well, this may be one of those days you just got to outscore him. This game's, as everybody knows, happens with the degree of regularity at Coors Field. They happen here at Great American Ballpark also. This is a great offensive yard. It's 2-0 on Schebler. This is the guy Dunn wants. Left on left. This ball hit to deep right field, way back, and it's gone. And Cincinnati now has the lead. Three-run home run, Scott Schebler, 10-8 Reds.
Dunn's been grinding this inning, trying to find the slider. Schebler knows that Dunn has to go to the fastball. The secondary pitch for Dunn has been eliminated. That's big time pop.
Pinch hitter's Patrick Kivlahan. He's going to pop out. That ends the inning, but damage done. Rockies got 6 in the 5th. They had it on cruise control. The Reds just threw up a 6th spot. Ian Desmond with a base hit. The Rockies would have 6 runs to open this game up. Marista hit a fly ball that was lost in the sun by Duvall. And that kept the inning alive. The Rockies took advantage. Antonio Senzatella, his first RBIs in Major League Baseball, a 2-run single. Rockies were up 8-3, and it's all gone now. The Rockies trailed 10-8. So it was Antonio's opportunity to win his 7th ball game. A 3-run home run, one of 2 home runs in the inning for Cincinnati. And now as we go to the 7th, it's 10-8. Let me correct something. That was Asher Wojciechowski who hit. Kivlahan was in the on-deck circle, but after the home run, they sent Wojciechowski up there to hit, and he continues on the hill. So let's see how the Rockies counter. Marista, Walters, and Parra here in the 7th. Marista takes a strike, 2 doubles, and a line out today. He's 2 for 3. The Rockies bullpen, especially on the plus side, has not had an ugly inning like that all year.
No, they haven't. Other than maybe the time frame with the Washington Nationals at Coors Field.
But that was not protecting a lead.
Right. That
was not your late inning guys. And obviously Mike Dunn for the first time this year really got touched up. 1-2 on Marista. That just missed him. 2-2. Rockies 9 outs to work with.
It's pretty rare that Mike Dunn gives up a home run to a left on left. Ended up being the first home run dating back to June the 11th, 2016. Chris Herman got him.
Keep in mind something else. Last night the Rockies went 12-6. Wandy Peralta, their only lefty, threw close to 40 pitches last night. Don't believe he's going to be available. And Marista chases out of the zone. 1 out. They also used Raisel Iglesias. That doesn't mean he's not available. He's their closer. Pretty sure it's going to be all right-handed pitchers coming out of the pen for Cincinnati. Tony Walters with 1 out. He's been intentionally walked twice today. One and one on Walters. Rockies have Scott Oberg. And that's a strike. Wojciechowski has struck out 3 of the 5 hitters he's faced. The Albuquerque Isotopes become the green chili cheeseburgers on June 16th, taking on a flavorful identity that is unique to New Mexico. Get your gear and check out Bringing the Heat, abq.com. Last night in Albuquerque, Trevor Story played his first rehab game, and it went exceptionally well. Trevor had a sharp single to right to drive in a run. He hit a home run. He also walked. He's playing again today for Albuquerque. Going to see him back with the Rockies in short order. 1 ball, 1 strike on Parra. Rockies were up 8-3 in the middle of the 5th. Now down 10-8. Wojciechowski's getting the baseball quickly and firing it to the plate. He's been working ahead. Duvall sees this one. It's a 1-2-3 inning. Wojciechowski, 2 perfect innings. Middle of 7, 10-8 Reds. Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. On the banks of the Ohio River, what was a glorious afternoon for the Rockies has turned sour here over the last 15 minutes. The Reds were down 8-3. They now lead 10-8 after a 3-run home run from right fielder Scott Schebler against Mike Dunn. Devin Mesoraco, who hit a home run to start that 6th inning against Chad Qualls, he'll lead things off against Scott Oberg. Oberg will try to put up a 0 quickly and get the Rockies back on offense.
Well, that's what Asher Wojciechowski has been able to do for the Reds, giving them an opportunity to get back in the dugout and punch back. There has not been a clean inning yet for the Rockies today. It has been a sloppy game on both sides. 10 walks between the two teams.
And the first pitch misses from Oberg. Mesoraco, Jeanette, and Hamilton. Reds hit around in the 6th inning. It's the biggest inning the Rockies have allowed on the road this year. They came in with the best road ERA and the lowest batting average against in baseball out on the road. Now it's 3-0. The only bigger inning they allowed 11 in an inning to Washington, and that will turn into a forgettable home series against the Nats. Rockies won the first against the Nationals and then got beat up pretty good the next 3. And a leadoff walk.
It's the 7th walk now issued by the Rockies to the Cincinnati Reds team. And out of those 7 walks, 4 of those have come back to score.
Qualls gave up 3 runs on 2 hits in a third of an inning. Dunn gave up 3 runs on 2 hits in 2/3 of an inning. The Rockies with the 7 walks. That ties the season high. It's the 3rd time it's happened. Here's Jeanette. And that misses. So good hitting, sometimes contagious. Seems like today the walks have become contagious. Rockies won yesterday, 12-6. They're now 11-3 in series openers. That sets the stage for winning series, obviously, of which the Rockies have done a tremendous job. That's why they have the best record in the National League. That's a base hit.
Brian Price has been raving about Scooter Gennett, about the find that this Reds team has had by having Scooter. Scooter let go by the Milwaukee Brewers, hit 14 home runs last year for the Brewers. He's been a welcome addition for this Reds team.
Spins out of the way. Wow. You just can't consistently be behind 2-0. Not at this level, at any level.
And it's not one guy. I mean, it's every single.
Hey, Sensatella started the day by walking Billy Hamilton. He ended up walking him twice. Line about you can't defend the walk. Safe. That's the first bunt hit for Hamilton. He's giving himself up, too.
That was a sacrifice bunt. He wasn't trying to bunt for a base hit. Mike Redmond will check quickly. It looked like he might have been out.
You're almost better off Mesoraco at second, trying to get the catcher going to third.
Well, Tony Walters jumps out of the crouch, and watch how quickly he barehands this. Oh,
he's safe.
Man, he is some kind of fast. And that's a great play from Tony. For most guys, you're throwing him out by 2-3 steps at first.
The other aspect of it, Spilly, I mean, you were always out in the outfield, but you know, pitching coach goes out there and it's not as if the guy in the hill's not trying to throw strikes. Hey, throw strikes. Yeah, I'm trying. Just not happening today. It's been up and down the docket this afternoon for the Rockies.
The same as a hitter. You go up to the plate. It's not like you're trying to strike out.
Now the bases are loaded. Nobody out. And this is huge right now. You're trying to stay in shouting distance of the Reds to give yourself a chance. Bottom of the 7th inning, Cozart, then Votto.
Now this is the reverse on the Rockies. These are the jugular RBIs that the Reds can pile on.
the Rockies will turn 2 up the middle if they can and concede a run. And somehow you get a strikeout here of Cozart. You got Votto coming up. That's no picnic. Rockies have induced him to hit into a ground ball double play earlier in the game. Oh, 2. Well, this will get a run home. Blackman lining up to go to third, and Billy Hamilton reads the throw, and he moves from first to second. Spilly, take us through the thinking there with Blackman. With Hamilton at first, it's got to change the scope of what you think a little bit, doesn't it?
I think he's probably going in his mind and he's shaking his head, because if you have an opportunity to throw somebody out, you'd like to throw somebody out. You're not going to throw either guy out. And even if you throw the ball to second base, Charlie's probably assuming that Billy's going to steal it anyways. The proper throw is to go to second base.
So the Rockies have thrown up 4 fingers, and Votto is walked. Still not used to that. Still don't like it, quite frankly. Adam Duvall, RBI single through the left side last inning. It's 11-8. 1 out. Ground ball deep short. There's 1, and on to first. Not a chance to get Duvall. A run scores. A little surprised, given where that ball was. It was a great play by Amarista, that he didn't go to third to Nolan, who I thought had retreated to the bag, but I don't know if you're going to turn 2 either way.
I think Nolan ends up being a little bit no man's land. That hit pulled him off, and then now you're in a foot race to try to beat Billy Hamilton at third.
That was the only play for Amarista. It was just hitting the right spot. Impossible to turn 2. So Duvall gets his second RBI. The Rockies are down by 4, 12-8, 2 outs. Here's Suarez. He's had a big day. And moving up with a stolen base is Duvall.
Yeah, Rockies weren't even going to take a shot to throw down to Duvall because of Billy Hamilton at third.
It's the easiest stolen base Adam Duvall will ever get. 2 strikes to count on Eugenio Suarez. So the Reds have scored in every inning but the first and the fourth. And in the first, they had Hamilton at third. In the fourth, they had 2 on with 1 out. As you said, the Rockies have not had a 1-2-3 inning on defense this afternoon. Ton of traffic, 11 hits, 7 walks, and a hit batter. That's 15 base runners. Excuse me, my math's terrible. What did I say, 7, 8? That's 19 base runners, and 12 have scored. Top of the order for Colorado in the 8th. Did you find these games to be exasperating at times to play in? What were your emotions when you were involved in one of these?
These are a grind. These are
types of games.
They're a grind physically, mentally. You're out there on defense for a while. You're trying to battle through your bats. You're trying to make sure you give quality at bats. You try not to get frustrated. It happens on both sides.
Ground ball to short. And Amarista will throw out Suarez to end the inning. But a couple more runs for Cincinnati. They're up 12-8 going to the 8th. They now trail 12-8 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Jenny Cavnar. Let's check our mini countryman player profile. Steve Foster. Yes, that's Steve Foster, the Rockies pitching coach, drafted by the Reds back in the 12th round of the '88 draft, and he made his debut at Old Riverfront Stadium against the Braves. Pitched well that day, and in 59 career games had a very small 2.41 ERA. Injuries finally got Steve, derailing his career, but he's become an outstanding pitching coach, standing next to Mike Redmond. High fly ball, deep right field, and making the catch out there is Scott Schebler. 1 out. So Asher Wojciechowski, who just got called back to the big leagues today, has faced 7 hitters. He's retired all 7, and he's on the plus side now.
He should be. He's been able to give the Reds an opportunity to come back. He's done a great job out of the pen.
1 out. LeMahieu coming up.
Curious when he had the phone call, if it was late last night, what his travel was. Today was an interesting start time. 4 o'clock start.
And LeMahieu hits a fly ball to Hamilton.
Kids big and small, be sure to visit the new Aero Arcade presented by Aero Electronics, located in the interactive area on the main concourse in center field.
Nolan today is 0 for 3 and a walk. Underneath the baseball. Very quick inning for Wojciechowski. Handful of pitches, gets 3 outs. 12-8 Reds. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism. Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why travelwyoming.com. Early evening in Cincinnati. Had rain late this afternoon. Most of it's cleared out. Looking across the Ohio at Covington and Newport, Kentucky. And Scott Schebler, who's been a hero today for the Reds, is up at the plate. He had a 3-run home run to turn an 8-7 deficit into a 10-8 lead in that 6-run 6th inning for Cincinnati. And then they tacked on 2 against Oberg in the 7th. Scott is still out there, as in Oberg. Scott Schebler takes a hard sinker that misses.
That was a good pitch.
1-1.
Subaru strike zone right on the edge. After a long game like this, you start losing corners, and I think if you watch the Rockies at bat last inning, with the base hit up the middle, you watch 3 easy outs by the Rockies' top 3 guys. You asked me earlier about if players get exasperated by these type of games. Yeah, you can see there's a letdown.
Schebler's aboard.
MVP of the game.
Wojciechowski. He's getting 2 at bats. And when he got called to big leagues, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll get in. Got roughed up yesterday. Probably need my arm in the bullpen. I guarantee you the last thing he thought of, oh yeah, I'll probably get a couple ABs also.
The Louisville Bats are about an hour and a half away from Cincinnati. And luckily for them that they were playing the Columbus Clippers in Louisville.
Well, either way, if you're playing Columbus, it's, you know, basically a little less than 2 hours to Cincinnati. 2 strikes on Wojciechowski. The Reds have a dozen hits, the Rockies 10. And Wojciechowski's gone 1 out. With the 10+ hits today for Cincinnati, it's the 21st time this year they have hit double digits in hits. You know, that's more than any other team in baseball.
I believe it. We knew coming into this series that the Reds, they had three facets of the game that were going to give the Rockies problems. Good bullpen. They'll play solid defense. They're not going to make errors. They made 1 today. Fielding percentage, they were tied with the Rockies for the best in baseball. And as an offensive unit, they're scoring a little bit more than the Rockies are as far as runs per game. It was the starting pitching, and I think when you look at today's game on paper, you'd like to think that Senzatella and the Rockies had the upper hand.
Well, they ultimately got to Tim Adelman. Adelman went just 4 2/3, 6 runs, 7 hits. He walked 4. One of those walks was intentionally struck out for. Middle relief couldn't bridge it to the late inning guys. Rockies had an 8-3 lead once again. That's down the line. Nolan. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. It is just absolutely crazy.
He's getting a standing ovation by the Reds.
This is a great baseball town, and yeah, they're up 12-8, but they appreciate great plays and great players, and that guy made a great play, and he is a great player.
Just first step quickness, leaves his feet, understands that he's not going to have much time. Oh my goodness, every single day this guy shows up.
You know that song, Simply the Best? They ought to play that every time he takes the field.
Every guy in the Reds dugout right now looked at each other and smiled.
Freak show. That's all I got. I'm sorry. Run out of adjectives long ago. Jeanette fouls it off. He came to the ball game in the 6th, Billy. This is his 3rd AB. He had one in the 6th, one in the 7th, one in the 8th now. He's 2 for 2. He scored 2 runs.
Mesoraco's thinking to himself, man, I was having a good day until Nolan messed it up. Just think to yourself, if any other third baseman was on the field, I have a 3-hit game.
Here's something else too.
I mean, I thought about that all the time. You'd hit a baseball to a certain person. Don't hit it to that guy. If anybody else, if only you would have hit the baseball and that guy was not playing.
But how about the gear he plays in? It doesn't change. The Rockies are down 4. He's been on his feet all day. It's a long game. It's turned flat ugly from the Rockies' perspective.
He doesn't have a hit today. Probably he's not crazy about his last at bat.
And then he throws out that play. Didn't lose focus. Playing with the same intensity as if he's trying to protect a 2-1 lead late. 2-1 on Jeanette inside, 3-1 on Scooter. Good baseball name for a second baseman, Scooter. Phil Rizzuto was known as the Scooter. That's there.
Chalk today's game up so far, still not a clean inning. There's not been one clean inning today. It's rare that we see that, especially with the way the team has been playing of late. National League best record, 27-16.
Swung on and missed. Jeanette's gone. That ends the inning. So we go to the 9th inning. The Rockies down 12-8 in Cincinnati. One more look at this unreal play by Nolan. Leading it off in the top of the 9th inning for the Rockies will be Mark Reynolds. Mark's 2 for 4 with a ribby. He's also scored a run. And this is the 4th inning of work now for Asher Wojciechowski. A reminder, folks, you get tacos tomorrow. The Rockies with 8 runs and hopefully more. Go to your Participating Taco Bell location tomorrow between 4 and 6. Reynolds, Cargo, and then a pinch hitter in the pitcher's spot after a double switch. Ian Desmond has been out of the game the last couple of innings. Wojciechowski has faced 9. He's retired 9.
All of Wojciechowski's appearances with the Louisville Bats this season have come as a starting pitcher. So he is stretched out. And you can see the mix. He's had command of 3 different pitches since he's come in that 6th inning.
How many Wojciechowskis do you think have played in the big leagues?
1,
2.
Tim. There's another Wojciechowski.
Steve played with the A's, pitcher back in the mid-90s.
Any relation? What's the country of origin?
I don't, is he Polish? I don't know. Three and 2. Joey Votto calling for it. It's 10 retired by Wojciechowski. Cargo today has been on 3 times. 1 for 2, a couple of walks. He has scored a couple of runs. Cargo fouled out down the third base line. His first time against Wojciechowski. Ball and a strike. Wojciechowski's got an interesting background. He went to the Citadel. How many big leaguers have come out of the Citadel? He's disciplined. And this ball's in the air to Schebler, 2 outs.
Zach Brown Band is coming to Coors Field Saturday, July 29th. Tickets are on sale now. Get your tickets today at Rockies.com/ZBB.
You know how big a fan of Zach Brown I am.
You're a big Zach Brown fan?
Huge.
Saw him in concert 2 years ago. He's fantastic.
Tremendous.
He's fantastic.
That'll be a great night. 2 outs, Pat Valaika. And Valaika knocks Wojciechowski down. Didn't hit him, but he knocked him down with a pinch single. Crowd was standing. He'd retired the first 11. Pat Valaika says, not so fast. That'll bring up Amarista.
I always think of every time you see a pitcher go down, Rocky IV quote time. You see? He's not a machine. He's a man. Valaika wickets.
Wojciechowski staring down Brian Price right now as he comes to the mound. And he'll get a standing ovation walking off. Former first-round pick. Hasn't been in the big league since 2015. He has not had a big league victory. 12-8. game. The work of that young man, the 26-year-old Asher Wojciechowski, gets called back to the big leagues today, first time in a couple of years, and he goes 3 2/3. He allows just the one hit. Pat Vallejo a moment ago. He has struck out 3. This is not a save situation for Raisel Iglesias. And moving up is Vallejo, and his first pitch misses, ball 1 on Amarista. 2 doubles and 4 at-bats for Alexi today. He's got a couple of RBIs after driving in 4 last night. Kyle Freeland will go for the Rockies tomorrow afternoon in the rubber game potentially of this series, unless the Rockies put a miracle together here. And Bronson Arroyo, the 40-year-old, will go for Cincinnati. On the ground to short. And the Reds have won this ball game 12-8. They snapped their 7-game losing streak. Wojciechowski with his first major league win. Mike Dunn takes the loss. Mike is now 2-1. Spilly, real quick, this is a tougher one to swallow than other losses when you're up by 5 runs in the middle innings.
Every loss is tough to swallow. I think when you look at this in the Rockies bullpen, doesn't happen that often. Mike Dunn got touched up for the first time that we've seen this season. You're not happy about it, but guess what? You have a chance to win a series tomorrow, and that's what matters. You have to win series. You'd like to see the Rockies come out. Bronson Arroyo has been